search of our cosmic origins. Located high in the Andes mountain range, the 66 antennas that make up the Atacama Large Millimeter Submillimeter Array, ALMA, are an imposing sight. Under one sky, more than 20 countries embark upon a scientific endeavor that can only be realized through collaboration. North America, Europe, East Asia, and Chile work together to answer humankind's fundamental questions. Northern Chile was chosen as the site for ALMA because the Atacama Desert is the driest in the world. Its atmosphere, almost devoid of water vapor, enables detection of some of the faintest signals from the universe. Over 16,500 feet above sea level and covering distances of up to 10 miles of the Shutdown Plateau, the ALMA antennas work as a single large telescope. A supercomputer combines and synchronizes all of their signals in real time. Thanks to this engineering and scientific feat, we're learning about the cold universe, the secrets of planet formation, and the chemical elements that constitute the building blocks of life. Professionals from around the world work for ALMA, pushing the limits of knowledge every day. In Chile, about 50 staff members are based in Santiago, while another 200 work in shifts at the Operations Support Facility close to the town of San Pedro de Atacama. Most of the staff works in the offices, laboratories, and antenna control room of this facility at an altitude of 9,500 feet. Others ascend to the Shutdown Plateau at 16,500 feet to maintain and relocate the antennas, among other tasks. Strict safety protocols are crucial under these conditions. Thanks to leisure and residential facilities, staff can lead a healthy lifestyle, playing sports and games, watching movies, enjoying nutritious meals, and resting in comfort. ALMA plays a key role in global astronomical efforts. Along with other radio telescopes, it allowed the first image of a black hole to be captured. Without ALMA, that goal would have been unattainable. The Chilean astronomical community actively participates in ALMA research and discoveries, using its 10% of observing time. The radio telescope also contributes to workforce development and supports national and regional scientific, technological, and outreach projects. An example of the latter are the thousands of visitors who tour the facilities each year. ALMA respects the local Liganantay or Atacameño indigenous culture, supporting educational and other projects in the town of Toconao and San Pedro de Atacama, preserving archaeological heritage sites, and protecting the unique flora and fauna of the region, to name a few initiatives. Mirroring the antennas that work in unison with one goal, under the same sky, the international collaboration that ALMA embodies continues the search of our cosmic origins.
Hey everyone, welcome to another virtual tour of ALMA. My name is Thais Mandiola. I'm a visit coordinator. And thank you very much for joining us today. I hope that you enjoy our topic that will be actually on this occasion about the annual scheduled shutdown that we have in ALMA every year. But before we begin, it is important that we clarify that at this moment, and since almost 2 years now, there are no visits to the site because of the pandemic. And ALMA is actually not 100% operational either. So our guest today will talk about more about this subject, okay? About the shutdown that is organized every year. So in this occasion, let me introduce you to Ivan Lopez. He's a safety manager of ALMA, and Claudio Aranda is a deputy supervisor of the power supply operation. How are you, Ivan? How are you, Claudio?
Very well, thanks, Thais. How are you?
Thank you for joining us. I'm very happy to
Oh,
see you both. It's been a long
thank
time.
no, it's a pleasure.
Hi,
Yes.
Thais, Ivan, and everyone. Nice to be here.
Yeah. So, well, to get into the subject, or you have a context of what's happening, every year we have the Altiplano winter, no? So this is one of the main factors of what we're talking about today, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. Uh, what is the Alma shutdown? If any of you, well, Alma, sorry. First of all, I would like you to tell us about your journey, how you got to Alma. That's more important. Then we get in the deeper um, theme, okay? So if Claudia can tell you about
Yeah.
what you
No,
study, how you
let's
get
Ivan start.
Ivan. Okay.
Oh well, it took me. It's a very I've been here for 11 years and almost 12, getting to the 12th year mark in March, and I was working in different engineering companies before in mining, oil and gas, everywhere around the world. Australia, Europe, in South America. I was born in El Salvador, in Central America, so I'm a very proud Salvadorian. I grew up in Canada. We moved with our family to Calgary, where, by things of life, I met my wife, who was Chilean, and ended up living here in Chile. So
Great.
a big journey to come to this. And as my kid said once, this is the first job that I have that I don't have to destroy anything on earth. So it's a very proud job
That's amazing. Yeah.
title to have.
Yeah, we actually have some greetings from El Salvador, Julio Amaya. You can see
There you
here
go.
from our viewers.
And I
And
know
you,
that
Claudia,
person, so
you know him?
yeah,
Okay, great.
yes.
Now
Julio
from
Amaya.
outside is quite few besides Ivan, but I was raised and born in Northern Chile, and well, the first I don't know 10 or 12 years in my working life has been related to mining industry, and I was kind of tired of that. And then the opportunity to join ALMA Observatory and changing otherwise the focus, the main core of the industry itself was just amazing. Starting to getting resources out of the earth to, as you mentioned in the video, searching for our cosmic origins is a big leap, almost in all the sense. So happy here. Now I have been here for a little more than 5 years, and now ready to go and continue here. It's amazing.
Great. And you're talking from Iquique, no?
Exactly, in the northern side of Chile.
Yeah. And you, Ivan, are you on site?
I'm at the site right now.
Okay. How's the weather?
Right now, believe it or not, it's sunny.
Okay.
It's an amazing summer day. I'm wearing a jacket because we had the
You
almost the four
see?
seasons today. We had really cold chill in the morning, very warm at noon, and probably we'll get some rain and snow at the 5,000 meters and some rain at the site. Even at the driest place on earth, we get rain
Yeah.
once in a while.
Snow and yeah, and rain.
There you say it all about this talk. That's why we proceed with the schedule shutdown during this month.
Yeah, yeah. Going back to the question that I was asking before letting you introduce yourself. Sorry for that. um, so yeah, the question is, what is the ALMA shutdown? Why?
Well, mostly from our side as the ALMA Department of Engineering. Well, I don't know, many of you on the spectators maybe work in some industry kind of, and we all know that maintenance is a requirement in order to keep the machinery going in perfect conditions to provide, in our case particularly, all the power to sustain the operations of the observatory. So, as Ivan and Thais already mentioned, during this month, especially during between December and March, even, but this is the worst scenario talking about weather for observations. So, isn't the best for maintenance, but our business is to do astronomical observations. So this month we take the yearly maintenance annually, as we mentioned already, in order to fulfill all the maintenance activities that impact the operation of the observatory, in order to not interrupt, don't break the observations during the rest of the years that presents better conditions for astronomical science. That's the why.
That's the why. And the objective, you said a little bit now, but if you can go more into the details of the objective of this shutdown.
Yeah, there is a point, a very important point, that we as at all the site, we are not connected to the electrical power grid of the country, the national grid. So all the electrical power that we need for any activities on site is provided by our turbines, and those machines we require to get maintenance, especially this year is going to be a little longer than usual, because we have to make the 12 years maintenance to the circuit breakers at medium voltage. So, well, we regularly takes about maybe in some cases just a few hours of total shutdown, but for this year is scheduled around 10 days, because we have to make the maintenance to the equipment that distribute the power to the internal grid.
Okay, perfect. And in the case of the safety group, Ivan, how how implies for you the shutdown?
Well, the shutdown for us, and it's something that Claudio mentioned too, or, in different words, we need to keep alive our observatory. We built it 10 years ago, and this is we want to call it a living organism because it has to be alive. We have to feed it and to keep it alive as any other living, machine,
Creature,
if you
yeah.
want to call it like that.
Yeah.
We planned the whole year for this. It's, it will sound very crazy, but as soon as the shutdown finishes, we start planning for the next one. A week after, we do our lessons learned. We see what went wrong, what went right, and what can be improved, and how we can improve the times. And this is why Claudia didn't mention. Before, we used to have a 1 month shutdown because we did lots of things very slow. We didn't know how they work. You have to remember that we're working in the worst conditions that we can have on Earth,
Mm.
above Earth. Underwater is another thing, but we have people working even at 5,400 meters. There's the amount of oxygen is the same, but there's hypoxia. There's things in play with health, food, logistics that we need to prepare for this. And we are working with equipment that was designed to work at sea level most of the time, and we're making it work at 5,000 meters. So what we're losing and what we're learning a lot every time. So now we can say we can do maintenance for 15 to 10 days. Before it was 30. So we're learning on this process, and we're getting better at it. But our machines are getting the toll on this, and they are getting, they need more pampering than before. For the
Getting
safety department, yeah, they are. I didn't want to use the word older. They need more pampering. That's that's nicer. Um, and for the safety department, we have to take into account that we have to provide emergency services. We need to have our brigade. We have to have oxygen for our workers. We need to have uh, everything set up in such a way that it can be a success no matter what. Right now, yesterday we had like 10 inches of snow that fall, due to the altiplanic winter, and we have to be prepared to work in any condition to get this running. So
Yeah, in
it's a
that
long.
case, is your group, sorry, Ivan, but in that case, is your group in charge of clearing the roads and having the way of the group of after, engineers coming into the
No. There's
plateau?
another group
Tell
that
us
take care
about
of
that.
that. CFG, everyone has a role on this.
Yeah.
Safety oversees that everything is done properly according to our protocols and not placing people or machinery in danger. That's our main job. We have to keep this thing running no matter what, but being the most responsible and the safest way possible. It's a huge challenge. And we're happy to say that, we have accomplished it ever since we started doing it in 2010.
Mhm. Yeah, but for the viewers, they don't actually know how are the conditions during this time. Maybe they've seen some pictures of the Altiplano winter, they cover in snow, but we have very strong weather during this season. And I don't know how it's been now because I haven't been to the site for 2 years. But tell us how has been the experience for now these couple months and how it affects the roads or connections, access, etc.
As I said, we came to this place on Earth because it's the driest place on Earth. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't rain, it doesn't snow. We get very little amount of rain and snow, but when it comes like like a tropical storm like that we have in Central America and the tropics. Uh, we get once we got 2 meters of snow, believe it or not, at the high side. We're located at 5,200 meters, and we have buildings, we have water, running water, we have electricity, and those equipment need to be kept alive there. Uh, right now, we are in the season where it's summertime in the southern hemisphere, but we get the humidity from the Amazon basin. So the winds come from that area to Chile instead of the normal pattern in winter that comes from the ocean to land. So we get all that humidity from the Amazon basin, and when it crosses the the Andes range, because of the altitude, it becomes snow and ice. Then when it reaches the 3,000 meter mark that where we have our camp, it becomes rain. So we have lightning, we have sandstorms. If you ever watch the movie The Mummy, that's how it looks. There's a wall
That's
of
true.
sand coming to us, and you can
Yeah.
stare at it and you can start calculating with your watch how long it will take to reach you. And then it's pitch black in the middle of the day. And then 15, 20 minutes later, it's sunny, like nothing has happened. And we're getting that today. That's why I said, we got the four seasons, from yesterday to today, we got spring, summer, fall, and winter in a day and a half.
And regarding temperatures, we can find, well, you can correct me, Ivan, but between minus 10 to almost 30 at OSF.
Yeah, exactly. And at the high side, minus
Oof.
30 with winds. You have to think that we have measured winds around 100 kilometers per hour. And our equipment has to work. Our people are doing their best to do maintenance and keeping things alive. That's why we do this shutdown every year. So again, we can pump our equipment and keep working and provide the best science that we can provide.
Yeah, and have a rest of the year cleared of more difficulties, no?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Well, we cover about the weather and what if you could tell us about any anecdote, Ivan, because I know that you have an important meeting now that you will have to leave. So if you can share with us any anecdote of this season that you can share with the audience now.
Oh, we have quite a few, and there's so many. At the beginning, with hypoxia, for example, uh, we didn't know how bad affected the body, and so we had some team that came from Germany.
Mhm.
One team that was working with us doing some electrical work at the high side, and the guys didn't want to wear oxygen at that. During those days, we didn't have the requirement the oxygen to be mandatory. Now it is. And out of nowhere, this guy comes to calling for an emergency, and
Yes.
he had a drill in a piece of wood. He drilled his hand completely,
No.
and he didn't know why. He started drilling a piece of wood, and it just went through his hand. And one of the reason for that was like he was not wearing oxygen, the lack of oxygen, and he didn't feel any pain at all. He just drilled his hand.
Really? That's horrible.
Yeah.
But
So
I remember being
it's
on side of lightning striking on some of the areas that you can see very close, and that was impressive.
we get
That's every year, no?
it's like the best show that you can have is sit in front of a window, away from the window though, from a meter, and just stare at the sky when it's lightning. It's like the best show that you can get.
It is definitely.
And the thunder, it rumbles all the
Yes.
facilities. It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry that you have to leave, Ivan, but
Yes.
thank you so much. I hope that you have a good meeting and all the best luck for what's happening on site and the rest of the year and the shutdown. So thank you very much for joining us.
No, it's a pleasure. And again, I'm really sorry I cannot stay longer, but gotta run.
It's okay. Thank you, Ivan. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
See you, man. Take care.
So, Claudio, it would be very interesting if we explain more about the turbines because we didn't mention more about that subject, and it's
Yeah.
interesting for the people
Okay.
to know and the maintenance that's needed during this time.
Well, as I mentioned before, we are not connected to the power grid, so we extremely depend on, well, at this instance in these years, all of you know how demanding, and we usually take for granted the power supply, talking about electricity.
Yeah,
But in our case, it's not. If we shut down the running turbine, we go to power outage and nothing works.
yeah, not good.
So, well, we have the demand of the observatory. It can be supplied by just one turbine, and we have three of them. So we are rotating with one turbine running and the other two between maintenance and standing by. Anyway, as nothing is perfect, we regularly have some shutdowns. Talking about, well, two or
Unexpected.
three
Yeah,
2 or 3 per year for any malfunction in the equipment or the related equipment of the power grid, internal power grid. But well, talking the main subject of this talk is about the scheduled shutdown. I cannot not to mention the year last year we have from March to October with all the turbines and the site closed. I know you already have a virtual tour regarding that subject, but
hmm,
that was a real challenge for all the team, not just my team as IMG group, but besides all the observatory. Well, after that, we resume operation and start the ramping up to operations. We are still on it. We have defined phases as many countries. In Chile, we have the stages for the pandemic. So also we have something alike in ALMA. We are currently in return to regular operations stage after, well, you have watching right now, that's OSF at 3,000 meters above sea level.
that's
But
where the turbine sites are too.
exactly. But the antennas that they operate at about 40 kilometers higher, let's say to the east, uh, at more than 5,000 meters. And that's the two main sites of our facilities. At AOS, where the antennas operational site, there just go two cables, let's say, to provide all the power to that specific location. And well,
Wow.
Ivan says all the background about the rain in the snow and all that conditions. We have we have had about 3 times failures in that cables that cutting off machinery working, removing snow, etc. That goes black, no power to antenna site. That that is our one of our main risk, operational risk. So, well, turning back to OSF, where we have our generator plant, we have 3 turbines. Each of them are capable to provide all the power needed to the observatory. And well, they have a nominal power of more than 5 megawatts each, but for the conditions as they are designed to operate at sea level, we have restricted to only 4 megawatt. If any want to know, the regular and the average consumption power of the observatory is around 2.5, 2.6 megawatts of power. I don't know, Thais, I can keep going and going, but
Yeah, well, just to say that in the images that we were watching, and Claudia was talking that it connects all this energy through those cables from the OSF to the AOS, and you can see that the antennas are all spread out. So the connections go 16 kilometers radius, and it's really a huge task. So you're involved also in the maintenance of these cables to the each one of the antennas during this time, or is not part? Tell me if it's
yes.
part of your work
But
experience.
regarding the power grid, the cables itself, they are, let's
Mhm,
say, out of maintenance, but corrective maintenance is always an issue.
mhm,
We do have the scheduled maintenance is for all the equipment involved in the electrical grid, talking about transformers, circuit breakers, protections. We also have some weather stations stationed in different parts of the area. That's a source of information both for astronomers to raise the operation of the observatory. And also the important thing is the safety side that, well, they keep aware and a constant monitoring of the conditions, talking about temperature, rain. We also have displayed in many places several cameras that also are a source to keep all the information alive of the
mhm.
conditions, most for safety issues and of course operational considerations for for the observatory.
Yeah, and what is that you do when you have the rain and, well, actually the snow, and then it start melting and goes into the cable? And what
It,
was
it,
going on with that? Because that happens during this time. I know because I witnessed it. Tell us
yes.
about how do you stop that, or what are the procedures?
Well, we work as several different teams as one big team, and the we have outsourced the services for the road maintenance.
Mhm,
And well, they have all the machinery, front loaders, uh, about 4 different machines, and a snow blower and other equipment. Well, preventive actions are always better, but sometimes conditions, the weather conditions and the amount of water or melting snow, as you mentioned, is too much for the preventive actions. So in many cases, you can see rivers going down from AOS to OSF, and real rivers. I'm not exaggerating. And of course that remove all the sand, the rocks, the material, and that have caused more than one event of directly short circuit that goes blows up the
the
sector
system. Yeah.
of the cable. Now,
Mhm.
no, not all the machinery, but yes,
Okay.
the protections proceed to open the circuits, and we have to go to repair. It's not so frequent, but yes, this is the most complicated season for that conditions because, well, Ivan says better, much better than I can say that the
Yeah,
conditions right now. He's already on site, so I expect
definitely.
to be
I
there
was
next week.
curious that though we have the shutdown during the Altiplano winter. That would be the worst weather time, like weather conditions.
Yeah, as
So
I mentioned before, is worst time for observations, but isn't the
okay,
best for maintenance either. But
exactly. And could you share with us any anecdote that you have during the time of the shutdowns that you can consider
I,
like
I, I thought
alarming?
that Ivan is gonna mention this. Sorry, it's about the long shutdown last year, but in that
Yeah,
month, because we have reduced personnel on site, etc., all the animals, the natural animals on site, have they're walking like their house, literally. Talking about,
they took over.
yes, donkeys, foxes, all the animals were well, basically even in the offices, all around. And when we start going regularly, let's say about ending 2020, they're still where they are. The folks you can see walking in the between safety all around the OSF, and no, he was almost almost a dog inside.
Part of the family.
Yeah, and well, there is another other things that are not so lightly talking about the this season's condition. I remember years ago, a team about 4 or 5 people get stuck in snow during a bad storm. And it was I wasn't specific in that group, but it raised all the alarms. The brigade had to go to rescue them, and finally they stay walking about, I don't know, lost in the middle of nowhere in the snow for 3 or 4 hours. It was some very stressful situation. But
Yeah, I can
well,
imagine.
it's part of being in these conditions that are optimal for astronomy, but not for human beings.
Yeah, that's right. It's very extreme. Yeah. So let's see if we have any questions from the audience. See that Julio Amaya is asking, what requirements must be met to be able to visit them from another country? Well, before the pandemic, we used to have visitors to the sites. Public visits to the OSF will be to the base camp, and we did a tour there. But now, because of the pandemic, it shut down in that area. We hope that soon we start opening and receiving again visitors, but for now, it's not an option. So in the case that it will be open, you have to fill a form and take a ticket from our website. There's a free ticket, and we have buses that go and take the public from the San Pedro town, and then we go and do the visit to the base camp. Yeah, so it's all covered from ALMA. But soon we hope to get back to that. Okay. Do you want to mention anything else, Claudio, to share about this season? Now you're going to the shift you mentioned on Tuesday.
Yes, on
Going.
Tuesday. Yeah, I have been in my house, forced to,
Mm,
waiting forward to getting back to site. And well, this week we have to prepare all the diesel generators, etc., and place it among several sites in preparation for the scheduled shutdown to be start on at the end of this month on January 30. We proceed with turning down the turbines and start with the maintenance activities. So we have ahead a lot of work, but it's most fun.
yeah, and a spectacle. While doing your work, you can watch all the spectacle of the weather.
Yeah, no, for this we usually started earlier. In normal operation, we start our duties on at 8 in the morning to 7 p.m. But uh, because normally afternoon starts with storm, rain, lightning, and all that stuff, We usually for this period start an hour ahead at 7 in the morning because normally due the weather we have to came down from AOS. It's not a constant time, but usually about 3 or 4 p.m. because the wind races, snow, and all that conditions. And well, he had to leave for another meeting, but by safety department, uh, AOS is closed and everyone has to come down to OSF for safety reasons.
Mhm.
It's a challenging weather, a challenging condition, but it's worth it.
It's
I
worth it,
I think it's worth it.
definitely. But
But
Claudia, I don't know. We don't have any more questions from. If anyone wants to ask that are watching from Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, LinkedIn, go and ask your questions. You can place them on the comments, and we will read it now. If you have any doubts to ask to Claudio. But well, yeah, we see in those images that it's very clear, but now it's not. It's actually covered in snow, Chacnantor Plateau. We had some storms a couple days ago. I saw from Danilo that he shared some amazing images.
yes,
Yeah. Okay, Claudio, I don't see any other questions. So thank you very much for joining us today. It was very entertaining and knowing what's going on during this season of the Altiplano winter, of this rain, of just wind and snow, everything. And how is the work for you guys during this time? So thank you for sharing that information. And I hope that everyone that's watching enjoyed too. You want to say anything
no,
for
my pleasure, my pleasure. Thanks everyone, and now enjoy.
thank you, Claudio.
Take a visit to us when it's allowed.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Ciao, ciao. Bye bye. Thank you for
Bye.
watching.